In this exercise, we are going to see about constructors. So what is constructors? So how are constructors different from the previous concepts? Previous concept we have studied about classes and objects. So classes and objects, actually we find like class will have privateness, but class and objects will be able to handle with the data functions very easily. But to handle with data members and to get the output of data members, we go to the concept of constructors. Let us see the first program. In this first program, we find that again a class like previous concept we are creating, and the main logic is we have to add two standard time which is having hours, minutes and seconds. So what is the logic used in this? So the logic is the class. In the class, what we have to include? Class name, first of all, time, then member data. You will have a set of hours, minutes and seconds. Then functions to do all these operations. Then constructors, initially I will make it to 0. Another constructor for having this hours as h and m and s, like that. Then input functions, the same way, all those data I should input, and then I should be able to add, and later I should be able to output my data. So in this adding alone, we use two parameter objects, because later we'll discuss in the program, this is like passing an object. So far we have seen only passing and variables, like we have seen. Now we are passing an object itself to a function. So this is a new concept. Then in the main function, we will have 3 objects. That only is going to have connection with all these concepts, functions. Now let us see the program. So in this program, again, the basic constructors are used here to initialize to 0 and HMS. Why should we use constructors means? Suppose I want to output this directly hours without using constructor. If you are not initializing anything, means you will get a garbage address value like you. That's why we are going for constructor. And later all these concepts are normal. What we do in classes, we will input data, we will keep a function, output data, we have a function. Here, since why I'm using if loop means minutes can have only, there is only 60 minutes and there is no more than that. Seconds or 60 seconds, not more than that. So I should restrict my seconds. For that only I'm using if loop, minutes and seconds I'm restricting it. Then later, now comes the exact concept. Now when you have like this, I'm creating the constructor. I'm not giving any parameter. If it is not giving parameter means it is known as default constructor. And suppose I'm having any next, if I'm having many objects with many parameters, that's known as parameterized constructor. And later, now I am passing here the objects to my function. So that is known, that's also very important concept of a constructor. That is objects passing to a function. It's a very important concept. So when I pass this AB objects in my C object is going to pass these two means. So what will happen? Both these operations, what I've done, inputted item. Initially I'll be inputting hours, minutes, no, for A and B. These both will do operation in this add. Both will be doing. For that only I'm passing the two objects, and later the resultant will be displayed. So let me run the program. You'll understand. Let me enter since within 24 hours. Let me enter 10 minutes. There are. Let me give 45 minutes. Let me give 60 seconds only up to. So 50 seconds, then again hours, 4 hours, I'll give 50, 6, 55, and you'll get that if loop will be calculated correctly and you will get your output executed, because we should know that when you're adding 50 plus 55 you will get 110. So that will be only up to 59 it will be kept using this if loop. and here also up to 59, only using this if loop. Then your output will be generated. And this object is passed, no, when there are two objects, this has to be passed. Then only these two inputted values has to be passed for my addition. Then only I'll be able to get this output. So that is also very important. Then constructors, basic initializations. Here if you don't use also, you will get your output. As I said, constructors are mainly used to access the data members, not the functions. Only the data members you'll be able to access very easily from the main function. You can access. For that only we are going for constructors. So now let me see the next program, how to calculate similar way only. That is, it is the calculating the distance. Okay, just adding the distance. Before we saw how to add the time, now we are going to just add the distance. So in this program, let us see how to add the logics. Basically in a class, what will you have in a class? The class first starts with a name, then what you should give the data and what functions you have to use. Here inches and feet I need to add, that is my logic. Then constructors initially let me initialize to 0 and fix the values. Then input function again, it is the inches and feet. Output adding also again, the input and both should be passed from the objects. Two objects which are the inputs should be passed and you should be able to calculate. Now output the same way, the member data should be outputted. Then the main function has to be calculated. Main function should have the three objects which will be doing the necessary functions present in the class. So now let us see the program. This program again is similar to constructors must initialize to 0. Why this is actually constructors are used to handle with the data member, not the function. Here if you use constructors or not, it is not a problem, but the concept says. Then again input output like usual cases, and this is very important. This is an important concept of constructor, that is passing objects to a function. Normally we'll pass variables like int a, int b, and we'll pass and get the output, but this is a special case. That is an important concept of constructor. And when you don't give any parameters known as default constructor. If you give a parameter is known as parameterized constructor. Copy constructor means d1 into dot bracket of, if you give d1 is equal to d2, it will become a copy constructor. These are some varieties of constructors. So this is the concept, and I have to add both my inches and pinches, inch and feet. Inch, since I am declaring float, I should be able to give in points. So you will get your output also in points. So let me run this program. So again you give the entering the distance in feet with the help of what I am giving, the entering the distance. It's with the help of the functions. Giving distance is int, so okay. But this one I'll give in point. Again this one, inches I should give in point. So you will get your output. So entering all the data is because of the function. Output also you will be getting after calculation is done. Here calculation is done. By passing the objects to the function, you will get your output. So now, so first constructors, as I discussed before, it is used only to initialize values. Why we initialize and use it means only to handle the data members from the main function. Only we go for constructors. Then this is a program to add 2 times and get the output. And the basic logics, class name has to be declared, and after declaring the class name, the data and functions has to be given. Then coming to the constructor, you initialize it to 0 and fixed values. And coming to input functions, you need to input the data and add the functions using objects should be passed to the function. Here 2 objects should be passed together, then only you can add 2 datas. And output also same way, the output has to be given in a separate function. Main function will have the container of all the 3 objects, will be passing the necessary action. For the necessary action it will be passing to the functions. Now coming to the second question, here we are going to, that time we added two distance, now we are going to add that time we added two times, now we are going to add two distances, not two distances, it's inch feet. This has to be added. Now the logics used here again, the class name will have the name and the datas and the functions basically. Now let us see, especially the constructors will be there in a class. The constructors are used only to handle the data from the main function, and input functions will be there, that is also to get the data inside your program. And adding functions is to add your data. When two data a plus b you have to add, means you have to give a pass by value from your main function, but normally we'll pass variables. Since you need to add two objects here, because two objects will have its copy of functions, you need to add it, you have to pass the objects, and then my final output. Then main function will have all the objects.